So I do believe we have that. So let's go ahead and get started. We are continuing on our American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 work sessions. And today we're going to be talking with a couple of our contractors and outside business associates, native owned, Navajo owned, that we really wanted to hear from, particularly on how they were working together with the nation, and how particularly that we're not working together with the nation. So we're here today to look at some of the obstacles and observations and some of the maybe suggestions from these companies. So I know that we have a couple of our members on the line right now from Nabi. So let's go ahead and get this work session started. We are having the 24th Navajo Nation Council Naabik'íyáti Committee work session via telecommunications. I'm here in Window Rock, Arizona on the Navajo Nation. Today's date is Tuesday, June 29th, 2021. The time now is 12 a.m. We do have a work session agenda that was posted um, at least 24 hours ago. Uh, and that was posted on our council website. We Presiding is myself, Seth Damon, Speaker of the 24th Navajo Nation Council. We'll go and call this work session to order. We'll have Ms. Nota do a roll call, and then from there we can continue on down. So again, thank you very much. Ms. Nota, you mind doing a roll call at this time?
Good morning, honorable committee members. Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable Elmer Begay did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr. Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr. Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Paul Begay.
Delegate Paul Begay is present.
Honorable Paul Begay answered. Roll call. Honorable Nathaniel Brown. Honorable Nathaniel Brown. Honorable Nathaniel Brown did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Amber Canasba Crotty. Honorable Amber Canasba Crotty. Honorable Amber Canasba Crotty did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Speaker Seth Damon.
Present.
Honorable Speaker Seth Damon is present. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Mark Freeland. Honorable Mark Freeland. Honorable Mark Freeland did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Pernell Halona. Honorable Pernell Halona.
Halona is present. Good morning. Thank you.
Honorable Pernell Halona answered. Roll call. Honorable Jamie Henyo. Honorable Jamie Henyo. Honorable Jamie Henyo did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Vince James. Honorable Vince James. Honorable Vince James did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Rick Nez. Honorable Rick Nez. Honorable Rick Nez did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Carl Slater. Honorable Carl Slater. Honorable Carl Slater did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr.,
Present.
Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. answered. Roll call. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr., Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr., Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Charlene So, Honorable Charlene So, Honorable Charlene So did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Daniel So, Honorable Daniel So, Honorable Daniel So did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Eugene So, Honorable Eugene So, Honorable Eugene So did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Otto So,
I am present.
Honorable Otto So answered. Roll call. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr., Honorable Thomas Walker Jr., Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Edison Winka, Honorable Edison Winika, Honorable Edison Winika did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Edmund Yazi, Honorable Edmund Yazi, Honorable Edmund Yazi did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair, Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair, Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair did not answer. Roll call. Going back up. Honorable Elmer Begay, Honorable Elmer Begay, Honorable Elmer Begay did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr., Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr., Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Nathaniel Brown,
Delegate Brown present.
Honorable Nathaniel Brown answered. Roll call. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton, Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton, Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Amber Canasba Crotty, Honorable Amber Canasba Crotty, Honorable Amber Canasba Crotty did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Mark Freeland, Honorable Mark Freeland, Honorable Mark Freeland did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Jamie Henio, Honorable Jamie Henio, Honorable Jamie Henio did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Vince James,
Delegate James present. Thank you.
Honorable Vince James answered. Roll call. Honorable Rick Nez, Honorable Rick Nez, Honorable Rick Nez did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Carl Slater, Honorable Carl Slater, Honorable Carl Slater did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr., Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr., Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Charlene So, Honorable Charlene So. Honorable Charlene So did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Daniel So. Honorable Daniel So. Honorable Daniel So did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Eugene So did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Edmund Yazi. Honorable Edmund Yazi. Honorable Edmund Yazi did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair did not answer. Roll call. Speaker, you have 7 members present, including yourself.
Thank you very much. That's 7 present. Thank you very much, colleagues, for being on the line with us here today. Let's continue moving on. We do have an invocation that was completed this morning at the Eastern Land Commission by Chairman Daniel So. So he did bless the day for us, and thank him for that, and thank him for bringing that leadership to the table. So let's go on down. Item number 2 on our agenda: recognizing guests and visiting officials. Colleagues, is there any recognitions at this time?
Speaker, this is Juanica calling in.
Yes. Good morning, Honorable Winika. How are you doing?
Doing fine, thanks.
Good. All right, Mr. Winika, add you on to the. I add you on. There's no recognitions this morning, colleagues. Let's go ahead and continue on. Again, item number 3, we're just talking about when it first opened up. We talked about the different um, work session topics, and today's today's purpose is discussing how the Navajo Nation is going to be working together, not only with receiving these American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 funds from the federal government, but most importantly, how to execute these dollars. Uh, and we've been talking about the different procedural processes, cutting the red tape internally, trying to really try to identify how we can go ahead and move forward. But there was one question too, as well, is that how are we going to really act to really what the Navajo Nation president indicates, and that's how we implement the Buy Navajo First, using Navajo contractors, using Navajo entrepreneurs, using Navajo A&E firms, using Navajo businesses to really try to uh, build out what the nation and what leadership is trying to go ahead and move us forward. So we did get first invitation. I just want to say, Mr. On behalf of Rock Gap Engineering, who did reach out to the speaker's office and ask for this because he indicated, Mr. Keith Kitso indicated that there was a lack of I guess, Navajo businesses that looked were passed upon at when we first did the CARES funds, and it indicated that there was more and more non-Navajo businesses that were being put into place, and so we really wanted to see if we could get this going. There was also recommendations on building capacity, and that building capacity on whether that be for the different businesses on your own part, whether you had the bonding capacity or internal capital or even external capital in order to help make sure that these contractors can build out what we're going to need over the next couple of years. We're talking millions and millions of dollars are going to be available for construction services over the next couple of years, and we just wanted to make sure that we had every possible detail and present in order for us to go ahead and unfold what we wanted to do in order for us to really maintain that working relationship with our Navajo businesses. So again, thank you everyone for being on the line. We are going to hear. I know that we heard back from Arviso Construction. I know that we heard back from Kea Construction. I know we. I don't know if we heard back from Mr. Dyron Murphy. We didn't hear back from them. I don't know if he'll be on the line. Uh, Inabot did come back with us. Rock Gap Engineering did indicate if all you contractors out there want to thank him for being the one who actually wanted to have you listen to, have the council listen to you foremost. You can thank him for this presentation to a work session because he was the one that reached out to leadership and truly wanted to make sure that we go ahead and listen to all the Navajo businesses. And last but not least, Arrow Indian contractors that we haven't heard back from them, but those are the ones that organizations who were recommended today. There's many more possibility, but we just wanted to make sure that these were some of the bigger contractors or A&E firms that really wanted to get in place, and some of the ones at the top ones that we took from guidance from the Business Regulatory Office too as well. So again, thank you everyone for being on the line. I'll go to each contractor, and if there's specific questions overall, I'm just going to treat this more as a roundtable rather than a individual presentation. I don't know if did we get any presentations? I don't think we received any presentations from any of the any of the companies, but if there's anything, I'll just go ahead and give minutes to each and every one of the organizations first. And if there's recommendations, I'll open that up for discussion. And then it'll be 15 minutes of open discussion. And then I'll go back to my colleagues for another questions and answers. And then after that, we'll go back into the presenters too as well. So without further ado, contractors, businesses, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves first, and then from there, if there's anything pressing, I'm gonna go down the line first, and then I'll go into open discussion. So, Arviso Construction Company, you're up first on our.
Yes, this is Olson Arviso. I am with Arviso Construction.
So, Arviso Construction will be first, and then Kea Construction, then Dyron Murphy, and then Inabot, and then Rock Gap Engineering, and then Arrow Indian Contractors. So, Arviso Construction Company, is yours at this time.
Hi, this is Amber with Arviso. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So thank you for inviting us. I know that the Navajo Nation do have a lot of needs out there, and we'll probably be here for the next couple days identifying all the needs. But I think we probably need to do an upgrade on all the tribal buildings throughout Navajo Reservation, infrastructure, and probably internet service, because I know we are at remote locations sometimes, and it's very difficult to have any kind of a reception out there. So I don't know. I have also Brianne Arviso on the line also. Maybe she can add to some of the some of the needs that we have. Brianne, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hey, this is Brianna Arvizo with Arvizo Construction. Thank you everyone for inviting us to the meeting and taking the time to what we feel, how we can spend some of this money. And we kind of did a little brainstorming session, and we just went through, made a list of all the things that we think we could see in our industry that need some attention. First is the inspections. Inspectors, if we could really get some inspectors, qualified inspectors within the tribe, it will help not just with the quality, the processing, but that is something that we need. Also, the Navajo Nation wage rates. One of the big problems that we face is the lack of people wanting to work, the lack of workforce. They'll come to our job, they see our wage rates, and they're not, they don't like the wage rates. Some of them are not up to date with the current minimum wage within the state. So those things could use some attention. And the biggest thing right now, as a result of the current inflation numbers, material cost increase. Almost every single project that we've started, we've had to submit material cost increase. Material is continuing to increase, and it's hard to come by. So that's a big thing as a result of the pandemic. Find some funding cost increase. And I think Olson mentioned upgrades to all the Navajo Nation buildings. That includes roads, housing, healthcare, chapters, senior centers, Head Starts, along with all of the upgrading to the buildings, funds to run the facility, along with operation funds, maintenance funds to maintain the current existing facilities. This is going to be needed for all buildings, new, existing. Let's see. And when it comes to processes that impact the construction industry on our part, payment processes, and the low bid process, we feel like the low bid process could transition to a qualification process. The qualification process allows us to collaborate as a team to create a budget, to design to those budgets, and also to hold every project team member accountable to those budgets. The qualification process can really lessen the change orders and all of the surprises through a project, and just being able to collaborate would really smooth out the process for construction, and hopefully we don't have projects sitting on the shelf for years until we can start working on those. And we think more staff for contracts, more staff for project managers and managing projects on the Navajo Nation side. And even training and certifications. As a contractor in-house, we do train people who come on board. We do like heavy equipment training, just for like backhoes and stuff that they'll be using on site. But I think as a nation, that's something that would be great for the workforce just throughout the nation, to be able to provide training and certifications. And I think that is about it, unless Olson and Amber want to add anything to the list that I may have forgotten.
I think one thing we also need to stress too is the turnaround on the nation issuing contracts. Because right now, I think there's like about maybe a 6 to 8 week turnaround. If we can shorten that to a couple of weeks, that would really help us, especially with these cost increase that we are facing. Because every time we are awarded a project, we don't get our notice to proceed till about 6 or 8 months down the road, or 6 or 8 weeks down the road. And by that time, we are already struggling with cost increase. So that'd be a big plus to us if we were to shorten the contract.
And
That's all I got. Okay.
for the sake of time, we kind of just really kind of expedited this list and just kind of gave a brief, quick list, but we can also send this, put it into a document with what we feel and just kind of a description of what it is. So if you guys need that from us, just let us know and we'll be happy to put this into letter format with all of the descriptions and the items.
Thank you. Thank you very much, to our Visa team. We would greatly appreciate that. I'm trying to get Dr. Yellowman on the line, so she was invited here to this presentation today. Dr. Yellowman, as you know, all oversees Division of Community Development, who's going to be one of the main lead agents in the build out of a lot of these different projects. So hopefully she can get on the line to hear some of this. And also as well to Chief Paulson Chaco. I know that some of the biggest areas of interest that we're trying to fill the gaps in is how are we going to have the building capacity to build out a lot of these different projects. And I hope to know that the executive branch is on the line this morning to listen to some of our Native American, our Navajo businesses, so that they know what we need to do in order to help collaborate together to have better response actions and better timelines in order for us to go ahead and have these complete build outs. But to the Arviso team, I thank you very much. Great. If you guys stay online, there's probably going to be questions. But if you would, we would greatly appreciate that. Whatever you have in writing so that we can write that up as a overall proposal to our overall, white paper. And that's what we need fashion to our Division of Community Development in order for us to build out or to have measures brought to the floor. If there's even certain waivers in our policies that need to be waived in order for us to really try to say, all right, this is what we need to do in order for us to have faster streamlines in these processes, in order for us to go ahead and maintain that responsibility, not only to the people, but also to our contractors who are building out these different initiatives. So again, thank you to the Arviso team. And if you can send that over to Chief of Staff, I think Ms. Sherilyn Yazzie did send over that information to you, the initial letter of invite. And if you could have that back to her, we would greatly appreciate that.
Okay, I'll get that list sent over to her.
Great. With that, colleagues, let me go ahead and go on down to Kea Construction. Yeah. Is Kea on? Mr. Singer, you might have to press *6.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Good morning. This is Harry Singer with Kea Construction. I'm from Bird Springs. My clan is Kachidi, one for she. And I'm owner and founder of Kea Construction. We started our business back in 2003. And we are 100% Navajo-owned business. And we sent over a presentation late, so I think Shirley will maybe present that if it's possible. Otherwise, we'll just go through kind of a little background introduction on our company and our capabilities, as well as a little bit of our experiences on the nation, and then some ideas for the work session. Um, Again, my name is Harry Singer. I went through the Arizona State University School of Construction, got my degree there, and started my business back in 2003 after working for several large contractors here in the Phoenix area. We do general contracting work and work as a design builder. We've had bonding capacity up to about $20 million. And we have an entire Navajo workforce from all across the Navajo Nation, all the way from the Shiprock area to Kayenta and Shanto area to Rupert Springs, Winter Rock. So we've got workers from all parts of our community. And we have constructed quite a lot of projects up there on the nation, some small, some larger projects as well, some multi-million-dollar projects. And we're pretty self-sufficient. We're not a shell company. We have our own resources and bonding capacity based on our reputation and our experience. And we've done design projects, design build projects, and the one in particular is the Winslow Medical Office Building, which we took from the conceptual stage to occupancy, and we self-perform a lot of the work that we do. And we believe we're fairly resourceful in doing work in remote areas, because most of the work that happens on the reservation are in areas where it's difficult to get to a lot of times. And in that, so we rely on a lot of cell phone service or internet service to manage our projects. And we also go in and bid projects that come out for bid. The last one we've done that we finished is the Little Senior Community School, which was a BIA project, which is about 32,000 square foot building. And with kind of experience, I think we've kind of picked up a few things here and there on what we think may be helpful with our participation. And thanks again for inviting us to participate in this work session. It means a lot to us, and if we can make an impact, that'll be even better. I think the money that's coming through the ARPA of 2021 is a substantial amount. I think there has to be a viable management plan to administer and to manage those funds. I think we all agree that Navajo business preference in bidding and the work would be ideal. From a distance, I know we kind of saw how the CARES Act worked out. We didn't participate in any of the work there, but I think it's something that we saw that there was a need to implement some kind of a management plan that would be inclusive. And the contracting process and procedures also probably needs to be streamlined to not take so long. And to enact some kind of a prompt pay on construction payments would be helpful as well. And and then being able to issue design build projects is something that we enjoy doing. I think we have the expertise to do that kind of work. And having worked on some of the bigger projects, we've encountered a lot of skill and people, workers, and a lot of businesses, either small family operation or one-man operations that struggle to start their businesses, and we've tried to help them along on some of our projects to try to work with them. I think it'd be advantageous for the tribe to come up with some kind of a program to help some of these smaller contractors to get established, to go someplace for resources and somewhere they can get some help in continuing their business and maybe even expanding their businesses. And I think it was also mentioned a little earlier that it would be helpful to create a building department where plan reviews happen, inspections happen, and certificate of occupancies are issued, and as well as having different parts of the building reviewed, like fire alarm systems or fire sprinkler systems. And so those are some of the suggestions I have. I'm sure there'll be questions at the end, but really want to thank you for inviting us to participate in this work session. We do have one of our job sites called in as well. I think they're up there in the Window Rock area. I'm not sure if they have anything they'd like to add. Yes, ma'am.
This is Justin Shirley with the K. I'm the project manager for K Construction. I think this work session is good. The need for the reservation is always going to be there, for infrastructure, for buildings, for housings, for roads, utilities. What I see is that we need to streamline, and everybody's kind of touched on it already, but to create a blueprint, to streamline some of the things that slow us down before we can do a design. Some other departments, archaeology, easements, NTA, BIA, all these things that we have to go through first. And I understand it's going to be 3 years for this money to be spent. And a lot of times when we're still seeing projects just sitting in the wings, waiting for approval on certain things. So I think if we could just streamline some of those things to get everybody to work together on that, it will allow us to do what we need to do the design, to do the construction. That part is easy for us. So whatever the need is, the nation needs, that's what you guys would tell us what you guys need, because the people go to you. And then once we create that plan, and then we just do what we're paid to do, build. So that's all I really got. But a need for a code authority is really needed on the reservation. As a contractor, we do things right because that's just how we don't like cutting corners. But to have that code authority, to have inspectors, is something that the nation really doesn't need. So that's thank you for your time, and that's all I gotta say.
I thank you very much.
I think
Go ahead. Singer.
yes, I think that yep. Thanks again. That concludes our part.
Thank you very much with that for that information, and thank you for being here with us this morning. So with that, let me go ahead and continue on down on our presentation uh, to item number C, Mr. Dyron Murphy, Architects. Mr. Murphy, floor is yours.
Yes, good morning, Speaker Damon, honorable delegates and staff and guests, and my fellow colleagues in the design and building world. Just a couple of, I'm Dyron Murphy, president of Dyron Murphy Architects here in Albuquerque. We provide architectural services from planning through construction, as well as facility assessments across the Navajo Nation and other tribal organizations and reservations in the United States. So I just wanted to touch on a couple of items. Good to hear some feedback from some of our fellow contractors who we worked hand in hand with, and some of the items, couple items, as the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic upon our sector, business sector, and also establishing some process improvements that are sorely lacking within the way projects and construction is developed on the Navajo Nation. The first part is the pandemic. We have had several projects that were stopped as a result of the shutdown of the Navajo government in 2020, which led to major increases in costs for systems, materials, and labor shortages as it resumed in late 2020 and early 2021. This in turn reflected in construction bids being received coming in as high as $900 a square foot on simple commercial structures. Even today, most bids average about $600 a square foot, which is in all the years I've been involved in this industry is unheard of, and the pandemic surely has impacted us. And the Navajo Nation, when they established these budgets for projects, they obviously never, these were established years and years ago, and they didn't foresee, of course, the impact of the pandemic. But the idea that now that we're at a point where planning and budgeting for facilities is very important in terms of understanding what these impacts are on the outside, looking at national trends, not just looking at local trends, but also national, because it does impact our ability to construct buildings, like, for example, steel. Steel is pretty expensive, and the process to get steel out to job sites it's driving costs up. So we want to make sure that everybody understands all of that. Replacement facilities such as at Tisto community, which we are working on, who they lost their chapter house to a fire several years ago. Now they're underfunded because they're working off of old budgets, and it's not really fair to them to have to try to deal with what we're having to do is phase the project based on available funds. The nation really should kind of step in and help fund these projects properly as a result of the pandemic. And the other item was the streamlining the processes within the nation. We all understand that policy and procedures are really kind of the playbook for the Navajo government, and how procedures are are addressed and looked at as far as how the nation operates. But I really think that maybe the nation should start looking at all of these procedures and maybe implementing some change, especially if the documents are over 10 years old. Because time really impacts a lot of things. Our economies, our ways of doing business and dealing with the world, it changes so quickly. And so we need to keep up with the times. And I know in Navajo Nation, they we all want to respect and hold on to tradition and culture, and that should be respected too. But at the same time, we also have to understand that as the largest tribe in the United States, we really need to start to show that, hey, we can work with the best of them anywhere, anytime. So in order to really create these healthy and self-sustaining environments and for residents and communities, there really should be some flexibility within these processes and practices. One example is the 164 review process. Everyone associated with that process knows that it takes quite a bit of time. We wait for contracts beyond 90 days. It's like, why should we wait like that? And especially on construction, waiting for a construction contract over 90 days just because of the 164, especially now, in those 90 days, costs go up, week by week, costs are going up. And by the time the president, Navajo Nation president, signs the contract, the cost of construction has already risen, 10-15%. So I think that streamlining of that process really needs to be looked at. And I think somebody had mentioned about the establishment of maybe a department within the community development that addresses building codes and reviews, inspections. I agree with that as well, because right now nobody really knows where to go in terms of getting answers related to key development criteria or rules and regulations. And so I think that would be very helpful if some sort of division or department was set up, maybe a facilities department. And speaking of Navajo facilities, I'm sure they have records of all the maintenance needs on the nation for all these facilities. And it just seems like facilities and the community development should be kind of hand in hand to really start to identify key projects, and especially those that are in really bad shape that need to be either updated or renovated. That would be very helpful. The Capital Improvements Management Department, or CPMD, of the Division of Community Development, recently issued a indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts, or IDIQ, for A&E services. And we're hoping that these contracts can really help us as design professionals to step in and help the nation in terms of planning, design, and construction activity. Because I know that the staff over there, Navajo Nation staff at CPMD, they're really bogged down. Each project manager probably has like 15 projects per person, and that's really not conducive to getting things done, because if they're working on one project, the other projects are just sitting idle for could be weeks. So I think with this IDIQ being implemented, and I know Miss Yellowman, director over there, has really pushed for this, and that's to be applauded. So hopefully we can see how that goes forward and starts to get some of this red tape moving. And then also what was mentioned was design build. I think that's a very good approach to developing projects on the reservation because it does save time and money. You have the contractor and designer on board from day one, and working together to deliver a project that meets the budget and meets the criteria for the intended result for the community. So I think Navajo Nation has, I'm not sure why, but Navajo Nation has always kind of shied away from design build. I don't know if it's because of the lack of experience in that area, but I know with DOJ, they kind of frown upon design build projects, but that's, I think, something that would really help in terms of processes. And then the last item, of course, is something we always deal with is getting paid. It's hard to operate a business when you have outstanding invoices, over 90 days, sometimes even months, and you're trying to chase down payments from the Navajo Nation, and only to be told that either the funding was relinquished back to the state, or that the account was closed out, or it's really kind of frustrating. And I know it is for construction too, because construction is such a fast-paced activity that you really do need to be keeping that cash flow going on construction. You can't be slowing down and waiting. So those are my key items I wanted to talk about today, and I do appreciate being invited as part of this. This is an unprecedented financial situation for the Navajo Nation, obtaining these billions of dollars, and it's it could be a really good thing for the nation, and if it's implemented properly, and I wish the best for the nation in that regard. So thank you, Speaker, and delegates that are on today. Appreciate you inviting us. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Murphy. Colleagues, let me go back to back to the floor. We did go hear from Arvisa Construction, Kaya, and Mr. Murphy. Colleagues, at this time, are there any comments or questions?
Speaker, this is Delegate Brown.
Yes, Honorable Brown. Floor is yours.
Thank you to all our Navajo-owned companies that have reported to the Navajo Nation leadership. A lot of really good points that were brought out. My fear is the key people that we want to relay these important messages to. I don't believe that they're present. For instance, I'm not sure if anyone is on the line from Navajo Nation Economic Development. I'm not sure if someone's on from the Controller's Office as well as OMB to hear this really important message. I think, again, if we want to spend these funds correctly, following the guidelines, and also in a timely manner, so our people, especially our Navajo business owners, are not left frustrated where they are having to not come back to help the nation. Again, I've said this since we received CARES Act and now ARPA funds, is that our Navajo-owned businesses, they are actually part of the reason why we got the $1.8 billion. And their employees, their families. So who better to receive while they're providing professional services would be our Navajo-owned companies. I think we need to ensure that we're not leaving any Navajo-owned construction, architecture businesses. And I did, not sure, I don't see on the agenda, and I'm not sure if they're reported, but I was looking for other Navajo-owned companies like Mr. Jeremiah Bitsui, and his late father did own a company. And I did send you the information, Speaker. Bitco, I think is the name. I believe that Jeremiah is on the line. So before I go any further, Speaker, can we also add him to the agenda to give a report? I would like to hear from some of the, I would like to hear from him and also some of the challenges so we can ensure that we are hearing from all our Navajo companies so we can fix or try to work on making the system better so we can continue to build these in a timely manner before time runs out. So, Speaker, at this time, I would like to request to hear from Mr. Jeremiah Bitsui and whoever he might want to at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Honorable Brown. Honorable Brown, we did reach out to numerous different organizations. One of them was Mr. Bitsui's company. We sent a letter over to them. There was no response. So at this time, I'm just going to stay with the individuals that did respond back to us. We can have another session because there's not only Mr. Bitsui, but there's 3 other individuals that are on the line that want to speak. But at this time, I'm just going to stay with what's on the agenda, Honorable Brown. But we can have another session.
Thank you, Speaker. Follow up?
Yes, Honorable Brown, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, that's good to know. I know that our staff are reaching out to so many organizations, especially at this time. Thank you for relaying that message. And I know that Mr. Bitsui is listening, and I guess the next time they can send their information in. And if we can have also a date on when they will be added so they are aware at this time, and all the others that are listening who are not currently on this agenda today. But and then I just want to continue since we're not going to hear a report from him until the next agenda at our next Naabik'íyáti. If we can, Speaker, can we have the individuals send in their information? And I think one of the other things is to all the Navajo-owned companies that are listening, if you could please have some sort of informal get together and produce a document, that would be great on some of the challenges that you face with Navajo Nation and each different departments and how we can expedite or help make the process. We will try, certainly try. The last thing I want is for to miss out on these funds, any other companies. I know that they have been, and everyone around the world has been very frustrated with, and then with the nation being closed down as well. I know the nation, with the 24th Navajo Nation Council, we did have the support to reopen parks, but that was vetoed. So we're really looking at the future of the Navajo Nation and how financially we will be at a disadvantage. We're going to see a ripple effect, kind of like what we're seeing with the closure of NGS and KNT Peabody mine. So how do we ensure that we as leaders look ahead and we are really sitting down? And this is where, economists is very important, especially during this time, during the pandemic, and then the closure of the Navajo Nation and how that's going to impact us. So the forecast for the future is very important. Right now, just looking and I'm not an economist, or I don't know all of that, but just seeing around the world what happens, I know that our nation already faces high unemployment rate. So this is just going to contribute to that. So I hope that we work together on safely. Again, our, as 24th Navajo Nation Council and myself, I am told by my constituents where I live with the Navajo business owners that they want to reopen. And of course, we all respect all life, and we, everyone has safety protocols, wearing masks, sanitizers. But if you look around us, we see a lot of individuals who do not practice those border towns and in the metropolitan areas. So if we can, I really want to receive a document where there's almost a consortium of Navajo construction architect firms, and that can become a document where we can forward that to the division directors and the different departments on the Navajo Nation, so they will not say, that's what we hear. I don't know, I never heard, I didn't get that information. So if that document from the construction companies to be forwarded to us, and then be specific on where, and you mentioned, on the last presenter mentioned, that with the 164 process, sometimes they're not being paid, and sometimes they sit on these contracts over 90 days. And also, there's a lot of really good points that he brought out, and especially with the cost also. Right now, construction, the labor, it's scarce, and also the lumber and all the materials have gone up substantially, and so that needs to be added into it. I don't know what right now the universal amount be. Would that be 20%? Would that be 30% from the current cost estimates that some of our projects are sitting at? And I think this is where our economic development, they have to be in this conversation, so we're not missing out on anything, and we're not going back to trying to fix these afterwards. So those are my comments. Shananta, thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Brown, and thank you very much again for those words. That's the reason why I'm looking at this as the first introductory um, dialogue that we're having, and I know that it really wasn't reciprocated to what we really wanted. What we did announce in the memo going out, that we wanted to hear the concerns, especially from what you're outlining there, Honorable Brown. So we are having staff work together with these these 6 organizations right now to build that formidable method, so that we know to say that, all right, this is probably what we need to change in the procurement policy, probably what we change at business regulatory office, recommendations for waivers here. So I think it's a collective process. So we're working with. So again, I don't see this as just a for one and only time that we'll listen to our Navajo businesses. And there's other entities too. This is just construction. I mean, we have so many other businesses out there that can help assist with services to the nation. But we just wanted to make sure that these are some of the bigger ones, organizations who had helped and had been working together with the nation for many years. So again, thank you, Honorable Brown, for that. But again, I look at this as not only a one-time thing, but multiple work sessions in order for us to pinpoint these resources, and then in order for us to process improvements on our systemic issues that are at hand. So again, thank you very much, Honorable Brown. I don't know if there's any other responses from any of my other colleagues. Before I turn it back, there might be some more conversation items from those 3 companies that we went on first. Any other comments, colleagues? Honorable Otto.
Thank you very much, Speaker, members of the Naabik'íyáti committee members, also the presenters, Arviso Construction, Orville, Arviso, and your team. Also, Kea Construction, Mr. Singer, I know your team that has been on the call. Also, Darren Murphy, and thank you for reaching out to the committee at this time pertaining to the topic which has been brought for the Naabik'íyáti committee. And the idea of the contractors of the Navajo Nation and any contractors out there that does business on the Navajo Nation, the story that you guys bring and has a lot of troublesome issues internally with the Navajo Nation. And as policymakers of the Navajo Nation, as legislatures, I always say go back to U.S. history. Anybody who graduated high school had to take U.S. history as part of his or her requirements to graduate. And under the legislative branch, during high school, we're told that there's a 3-branch government, and that's the same type of government that the Navajo Nation has adopted, not fully adopted, but as policymakers, we have two things that really define our role and our responsibility as legislatures and of the Navajo Nation, and that's to legislate laws and to appropriate funding, whether it's the comprehensive budget or other funding requests that is made throughout the Navajo Nation. Just looking at the notes that I've been taking from Orville's team, Amber and Brianna, talking about the procurement process of the Navajo Nation. And Kea Construction echoes the same thing relating to the procurement process. And Mr. Darren Murphy also echoes the same sentiments of the Navajo Nation procurement process, the wage adjustments, inflation that's going on, that's allowing the cost to increase the construction costs pertaining to material. I'm glad that as contractors looking from the outside into the Navajo Nation, and this is your government, you guys are Navajo contractors, and I'm sure you make construct buildings on and off the reservation. and Beijing Hasi, no lodo, ni Washington, la it ego, the Baba building, don't this wing then. I'm glad that you brought out these issues. And then also the other construction company, and what I'm getting to is that this 164 process is something that we really need to sit back down and tackle these issues. How could we try to better streamline these issues of the 164 process? And the never Washington be on there. And you're right that if a process goes through the 164 process, it stops at one office and it goes to another office. And it goes to another office, but one thing is that it sits on one desk for like 10 days, 30 days, 60 days, and so forth. I remember this is Department of Justice. One of my 164 documents sat in the Department of Justice for 60 days. And my chapter reached out to me. This 164 process is that Department of Justice is stuck there. And I always say that process that's in place is in the executive branch responsibility. And executive branch. And really, really, in this case, our managers and our division directors, we pay them well. But yet, these procurement process, such as contracts, which you guys allude to, takes too long. Going through the 164 process is something that we have to tackle. And this is something that I believe the administration should be able to take care of. The contractors, and really, really hope that the executive branch can make this thing a lot easier for you guys, because those process there is the executive branch 164 process. And the legislative branch has their own process of their own 164. There's the 164A and 164B. Each branch with and I believe you guys get tied up in the executive branch's 164 process. And I guess as businessmen, business people of the Navajo Nation, administration as business people of the Navajo Nation, what dialogue and conversation has came out to each of the construction companies that actually presented? What changes has been proposed to you? Because we have not seen anything on the legislative branch, in any form of legislation pertaining to the procurement process, nor to the contract issues that you guys are having, which delays construction. I know that the Navajo Nation is known for paying out a contract. contractor but peso and it really baffles me that our system in the executive branch administration. They'll do it. But it's 2 years into this term, and we have not got any policy change to these issues that you guys are having as Navajo businessmen. And I wish that we can move forward, and maybe the speaker, if we could, if the administration is not willing to work to change these policies, maybe we, the executive or the legislative branch, should step in and try to fix these things. Make a recommendation to change the 164 process in the contracting. The contractors and I think that we can try to address this from the council's standpoint, but I'm going to reflect back to what I indicated, is that the Navajo Nation Council, our responsibility is pretty much just to legislate laws and appropriate funds. Contractors. What type of response have you gotten from the Navajo, the mother government, pertaining to changing these policies internally as you guys talk with the programs that you guys work with? Like community development. Providing solutions to try to navigate through this, the current bureaucracy, or maybe the controller's office. A delegate should not be getting involved in a 164 process. But I always say that if a councilman gets involved, that tells you that there's something wrong, something going on in that office. Something is hindering. It's either that the individuals that are supposed to sign off on these 164 process are not doing their due diligence on that, or I don't know. But you're at the mercy of the tribal system. And as Dyron Murphy and Shana, it's just not us, Mr. Singer, Mr. Arveso, you guys strongly talked about the increase of construction costs after 90 days. Because construction material is based off of the market, whether it's steel, whether it's paint, boards, lumber, so delivery, and it's subjected to the field market also. Even we identified it, but how has 3-4 contractors if they have talked to the mother government that takes care of these programs, what has been the dialogue between the contractor and the agency? As policymakers, we want to know. So that maybe they're slowing it down because we're not paying them enough. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but I know we give them a shiny penny. These individuals that are in the line of signing off on these 164 documents to move it forth, all the way up to the president's office, especially the chief of staff. And even the attorney general. These things should be these things as it comes across their desk. They should be reviewed, and they shouldn't put you in this issue and this matter, because time is money in the construction world. Because they never worked the construction world. When you're in the construction world, you goof up, you're fired. Because it's never Washington. Because and maybe if we could start looking at a roundtable speaker to get our construction industry to the table to see what type of what are they really facing. But I still see that. I really hope that the administration reaches out to you guys and say, hey, how can we try to streamline this? And I think you contractors, I always say this. A person who was a construction foreman at a construction site will make a really good Navajo Nation president. A construction foreman. Khala the nenayin nilikit the yego pasahas zinto khala naho iso kha kela eya naha ndikis to khala cheto ni khailat an the stick khana chato bika to lo. And I always say that a construction, if the nation elects a construction foreman person that has a background as a Navajo Nation president, I guarantee you he's going to get all the programs working together, because it's all about management. How can this craftsman, you have your journeymen, you have your leadmen, you have your general craftsmen, in a way, we have to find a way to utilize this construction industry to revitalize the economy of the Navajo Nation. My gosh, we have tremendous amount of carpenters. We have tremendous amount of rod busters, iron workers, welders, plumbers, painters. You name it, we have it. And our craftsmen are stationed across the world, working on oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico, working in oil fields in Nigeria, working across America as union workers, non-union workers. We have the craftsmen. Onsen. Quando to hashi is cost in oh aba ba onsen. Idaro cho ego to nebi Washington has joined the to nansen has jo had it egota nel ego. Akohonda kototi de bi behs ani no tahi e ate ahadit ada ate not tosen hado be na hoti iki ni hodoshi. And I think there's a few of us that understands the construction industry. And ahadit egota ajita behs ani da kitadit niso. We might as well just do those for the branches that are supposed to take care of these issues so that these things benefit our Navajo contractors that buy Navajo, buy local. We have companies here on the Navajo Nation that can build these things. Oh, Aban, kiss. Oh, shit, but I hate these things. I did need to present that Sagi. You employ Navajo citizens, Navajo people. You pay them, and they, in return, provide bread and butter to their family. If a person never worked the construction world, he or she will never understand how that world works. The ups and downs, working paycheck to paycheck, working with no insurance. If you get hurt, you're out. You can't get paid. You have to rely on workman's comp. Las Vegas, working on whether it's on a power plant or a building project across the world. And on the shout out to all you construction workers out there. I've been there. I've been there with a small check, seeing how I'm going to try to provide for my family at the time. Iyanish, towards weekend, shle, at San Shadi weekend, dishle, hajola, at China etigins, and what ego, our construction workers are out there making these decisions daily. And you, as our contractors here, take care of our construction workers. That's what returns a worker to stay with the company for a long time. Mr. Murphy, I believe that we could try to utilize and capitalize off of the construction world and our contractors out there, whether they provide contracting for engineering services, architect services, construction services, building services. Oh, what aban this case. Edo here chat no ado ba here so this ne. Oh, I did he agi e koto e ya shusnege adi kesle do halit ego la ba hadit ego ta do ni onsen edi what yeah thank you and go on mute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Aroso, for those that detailed response and recommendations and testimony too as well. That, colleagues, is there any other further comments or questions at this time? Honorable Amber Begay.
Speaker, this is Delegate Charles Newton. I've been on the line since 11 o'clock. Thank you.
Good morning, Speaker. I can speak now?
Yes, you can.
Okay, Jawed, Speaker, out on the members of the Naabik'íyáti Committee and all the people that are on the line listening. And then to the presenters too, Navajo contractors and Navajo business people. First of all, I'd like to extend my gratitude and appreciation to all the Navajo business owners and all the business people that are there. I guess I could say that you are in that line of a traditional teaching to say it's who you are. This one thing that I could say that this is something that you could say it's really up to you. So you got that concept of traditional teaching. Your own, your own boss. You're owning that. You know that you're the owner to that company. So I really acknowledge you this morning. I really appreciate that too. I know that it takes a lot of understanding, and it's really up to you to do that. You take a lot of risk. You know, it's not like us being the leader, you know, that we can say anything we want to, and we can get paid. And then as a Navajo Nation employees, we're like that too. You know, we don't have to be we can, the progress and we're not even doing any production, but we still can be employed for the next how many more years. But you guys are different. I really appreciate that. I wish we would have somebody like that out, more people like that, and you made people to come be your employees too. And we know that Navajo Nation itself, the Navajo Nation government, that's the only one we look at is that employment. When the Navajo Nation government is out there trying to do, looking for an organization or even a place to work, and we're trying to create more jobs for people. Trying to put people to work. But you guys doing it on your own, and then at the same time you guys are the owner to that. You're about yes, and on that I would listen to you. You know that just like how teaching say that you can build your own home. You make your own home the way you want to, and that way you can build your own business the way you want to structure, how you want to do it. You know, that you have a lot of teachings. You have a lot of skill. You know what to do. I guess you would say that you already know. Like my old people say, I don't spell husband. You know, if you do something at the ground level, like not car, toyaki car, says not get, I get the liga, and if you know that, is that you already know when the job comes around, you already know I don't spell husband. And he's like, you guys are like that. I don't spell the husband, you know, to do that. Yeah, and that's the way I wanted to express my appreciation to you this morning. Out of Nashado, I know that a lot of times with this funding, I'm not sure if you were on the line, if you were listening to the conversation of Navajo Nation Council session and Naabik'íyáti. During that time, a lot of times I try to put my amend these to where you could be employed more, like giving you more preference, the priority 1 and priority 2. And I know that leadership always mention that it's already written. It's already in the Navajo Business Opportunity Act, and it's already within the Navajo Preference Law. You don't need to mention that. But the thing about it is that that law, when it comes to money, and I can agree with you that it's like that. Yeah, we all know that it isn't in the law. But when it comes to money, when it comes to hiring, we overlook the Navajo business people, Navajo business owners, as leaders. So that's the reason why I say remind that how can we do this? How can we amend that law to where it works? It has strength in it. How can we do that? How can the DOJ help us to do that? And I believe that that's one thing that I would know that these business owners need help, that part of it. And for one thing, they can not, if they were not given that job, how can they go about it to appeal? They have to hire their own attorneys to do that. So I think I would need your help. I know that out there, I'm working with some others. We're trying to make it to where this the Navajo Business Opportunity Act and Navajo Preference Law has strength, has where they can get a lot of benefit out of it. And we can't go. These business people cannot try to grieve that. They have to come out of their own pocket to do that, and I don't think they need to do that if it's in the law. No, we're not. Maybe I'll be glad to work with you, each and every one of you, business owners. I believe in you, that you guys are the one that's going to do it. Us leaders, we don't need to be Not only the about me and carding, they don't need that I never spell in house in the north, Cathy Bespelhausen, isn't done set for the Hallo, the Bespelhausen, Nisha. I see the Halon, the Hadan said that A Bespelhausen. It's about the years, it's about the person said Dada, so. It is in the Ida, a child of Mrs. Bespelhausen. It is all you need. Jane here will not end on this case. Even I maybe the speaker, if we would really help to put some more maybe some teeth onto this Naval Preference Law and Naval Business Opportunity Act. Maybe we need DOJ to help us. Maybe where it could be more, have more priority in it. In this case, Speaker, maybe if DOJ is on the line, that will be my question, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Elmer Begay. If Department of Justice is on the line, I can come back to you if you heard that. I want to prepare a response. Is DOJ on the line right now? I don't know if they're on the line, but we will get them on the line on them. I'm gonna begin. That, colleagues, is there any other comments, questions? If not, I can turn it back over to if there's any response at this time from uh, anyone from the Arviso construction team members or um, anybody from Kea or Mr. Murphy. If there's anything you want to add or response to any of my colleagues' recommendations or suggestions at this time. And then after that, I will continue on to move on down to our next three presenters.
Honorable Damon, this is Brianna Arviso with Arviso Construction.
Yes.
For any
Ms.
of the-
Arviso, go ahead. The floor is yours.
For anyone that came on late, Arviso Construction, we've been doing construction with the Navajo tribe for over 30 years. We've been working with these processes for a very long time. We've learned how to work with them. So we're very happy to be part of this meeting to help improve some of those processes and provide feedback on how we can spend the funding in a very productive and proficient way. So as a follow-up to this meeting, we will provide our comments, questions, and ideas in writing, just so you guys can all have that. And if anyone has any further questions, you can always feel free to reach out to us at any time. Again, thank you for inviting us to this meeting.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from the presenters? If not, let me go ahead and continue on down to our next three presenters. I first have Inaba Inc.
I'm here, sir.
Great. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and if you have team members on the line too as well. But right now, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Council delegates and guests. My name is Dwayne Aspis. I'm the owner of Inaba. Been in business for 27 years, working with the nation. There's a lot of things that I could probably talk about, but the three presenters and some of the council delegates did already mention a lot of it. And I believe that there's a lot of same issues that we all have as business owners. And my opinion, and being around the nation and being a business owner for this long, I think our system is broken. Our procurement system is broken. Our preference laws are broken. Our financial laws are, they have some issues. So in my opinion, I think we need to get back onto that system and fix the system. And any organization that I'm aware of, tribal, private, it doesn't matter. If your system is not functioning right, you're not going to be successful, either with your clients, with your employees, etc. So I believe that if we can continue to collaborate, sit down together, continue these sessions with business owners and the decision makers within the tribal system, I think we can correct a lot of this. And a lot of the business owners are committed to the tribe, and we want to see improvement. We want to continue to hire our youth. We want to train our youth. We want to just continue to be successful and be one nation. And there's a lot of other things in this management, the planning management plan that we were given. But I think to improve what we're talking about is we need to continue to talk and communicate and to give each other input, what works and what doesn't work. Other than that, gentlemen, ladies, that's what I got to say. But I'm willing to continue to work with you guys, sit down, have meetings. Maybe we get the Dene Chamber of Commerce involved so that they can collaborate and get us business and division directors together so that we can actually have a big sit-down meeting and improve our system. And, a lot of our colleagues, construction, engineering, surveyors, environmental people, we're all here for you guys. It's just that we run into a lot of issues that are being addressed at this time, and we just need to fix those. And I think once we fix those, I believe things will go a lot smoother and people will be a lot happier. So that's all I got to say. Thank you very much, people.
Thank you very much for that presentation, Mr. Aspis. With that, colleagues, let me go ahead and continue on down. I have next on the agenda, Rock Gap Engineering, LLC.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Keith Keepsel with Rock Gap Engineering. I want to thank Honorable Speaker Damon for setting this up. We had a number of conversations just to have this discussion with other capable construction companies and architects. And a little bit about us. Rock Gap Engineering has been in business now since 2005. And we started as an engineering company, electrical mechanical engineering company first, and grew into construction over the years. And one of the things I had the discussion with the speaker about is, as everybody mentioned, the procurement laws. With the funding that came in, as we were discussing this, my goal of this is to ensure that the funding is procured to Navajo companies, 100% Navajo companies, which in turn will create economic development within the nation. As the Honorable Otto So said, was that to put our people back to work. There's a lot of other companies. If you look at the source list, there's a lot of subcontractors that are competing, which they shouldn't compete, with non-Navajo companies. And I think that was my biggest part of this, was to ensure that the economic development to bring the funds home to Navajo. A lot of us, the companies that are invited here, are off reservation. I know some of you are on the reservation, but I think that was my biggest thing. And the step forward is the procurement laws. And right now there's a discussion to revamp the procurement laws. And I don't know if everybody's aware of that. You know, there is, as Mr. Askus has mentioned, I mean, the system is broken, and we deal with it day in, day out, and it does get frustrating over time. You know, I think most of us get to that point is how far do we continue to go with this? And as a construction company, as it was mentioned before, I mean, prices are bouncing all over, up and down with steel, wood, even labor forces. And regarding the labor forces, it was mentioned earlier, I think we have to have a set number that is paid to Navajo workers, because we're having a hard time feeling manpower, because and I hate to say it, it seems like they're making more money staying at home than working. And that isn't just Navajo, that's across the board, that's across the nation it's happening. And that was my biggest push to this, is to ensure that Navajo companies and subcontractors and labor forces are at the front of the line with all the funding that the Navajo Nation has received. Because working off the reservation, I hear it, I see it, that non-Navajo companies are just bombarding the nation right now to get their hands on those funding. And I see it, I hear it from colleagues of mine that are working for other companies. And that's where I'm pushing for, not only for myself, but I guess for all Navajo companies and subcontractors. And I'd be happy to sit in a discussion, a roundtable, as it was mentioned, to everyone to try to help fix the system. I guess it would be said the easiest way. But that was my push to it, and I think that was what led us to speak with the speaker and try to move this forward. And I'm not sure how the government works through the system, and I'm trying to learn that system myself, and I guess put in some type of legislation to the council to approve for the companies to move forward and create, like, again, economic development on the nation, which we really need. But that was it, that's about all I wanted to say. And I want to again thank Speaker Damon for setting this up. I want to thank all the delegates that are present, and I appreciate you listening in on this. And this is Keith Keitzel with Rock Gap Engineering. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kitso from Rock Gap Engineering. Let me go ahead and continue on down onto the last presenter, and then I'll go back to the floor. Aero Indian Contractors. Anybody on from them?
Hello. Anybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Tom Curley here, president, owner, founder of Aero Indian Contractors. Yate kwasene, sitibit aninse, ko hanabashin, asin dasitse, ado tapahay dasinala, Chichibi todo nenshne. Ado Hayato Puerte Honda as not, another other Honda. Even that's why we're independent and hard-headed. I'd like to start by honoring all you guys who are in authority. Hopefully try and listen to us and make some decisions in regards to streamlining the procurement process and working with Navajo contractors and businesses. I'm also the vice chair of the Diné Chamber. And I can't deny a coda is not side or hit a hard nation at Anita a call. This is an unprecedented process with $1.8 billion hot it. Although what I'd like to say, it is unprecedented that the Navajo tribe has reached out to us business contractors and businessmen to try and collaborate with furthering the economic development and private ownership of businesses on the Navajo reservation. I call Ache or Viso Brianna for your presence here. Harry Singer from Kaya, Dyron, it's good to hear your voice. Dwayne and Keith, I know you guys intimately through our relationships and contracting for the Navajo tribe. And the time that we spend together airing these concerns, I hope will be beneficial and hope that we'll be able to move the nation forward in providing employment and peace of mind to our Navajo people. It's been a crazy year this past year with the pandemic and the challenges that it presented to each and every one of us, and it has far-reaching consequences to each and every one of us and our families. With that in mind, it kind of creates a handicap for doing business on top of the existing handicaps that were already there. It has been said, Otto So has asked the question, what was the response for your concerns when you approached these various divisions and dialogues? What was it? And those dialogues and responses can be better addressed through the Diné Chamber. And us business people, I would like to be able to gather all that information as far as responses and dialogue to the Diné Chamber of Commerce, who can in turn turn around and give these concerns to the council or the executive branch. I'd like to thank the chamber and the executive branch for recognizing us business folks who have these grave concerns and being able to put the Diné Chamber on agendas and even taking time to listen to us. It is a great step in our economic development that the Navajo tribe has recognized us and that we have a viable voice in concerns not only to contractors, but to existing businesses, the artisans, the mutton stew stands, the fried bread stands, and all the planners and architects who are out there in the world from Navajo country. And it has been said that Navajo has a glut of skilled craftsmen. Iron workers, carpenters, electricians, but they are not here because of the red tape, which is here to try and do work and find work. And I'd like to list some of my concerns in my 30 years of working with the Navajo tribe. I give you a rundown of Arrow Indian Contractors. I founded Arrow Indian Contractors after going to serving in Vietnam, and I returned here using my VA to go to college. And then when I started the company, my 15-year-old daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, and my 13-year-old daughter were the president and secretary and vice presidents of the company. So the American dream is possible. And we found it very hard to sustain that business on the Navajo reservation because of the red tape. First, we couldn't get land for an office. We used our little trailer as the headquarters for it. Eventually, it got so frustrating that we moved off the reservation. And out on the off the reservation, we were able to excel and even prosper. So today, as a result of that, we are living the American dream. Of course, some of my concerns has already been voiced for all the other contractors before me. First and foremost, I think is prompt payment. It is so hard to be extended out there for months on end without payment. And it's not a good incentive to go out there and build a job and wind up having invoices which lay there for sometimes up to 3 to 4 years on end. And not to blame anybody, but I think it's our systemic system needs to be improved. Number two, I would like to be able to address the 164 process again. How come there's two repetitive systems at the legislature and the executive? It just gives cause for one or the other to point a finger at the other and try and place the blame. I would suggest that we listen to the Net Chamber of Commerce, who suggests that we have one entity which reviews and sends out even the payment process, and have a board that lists all the contracts that went out and who it's been awarded to, and keep a current listing of things here on the Navajo reservation. So it's anybody can go to it and pull off, see who has a job over there and stuff, and it would help employees know where to go to look for work. And I love Arviso's program, the on-site training and certifications of the Navajo people. And that's something that every contractor should be able to employ once they are able to afford that. And another issue that we'd like to address, and you guys who are empowered to do something about, is this COVID that affected all the projects and all the shutdowns. And thus we have this ARP program. And it seems to be headed the same way as the first program, which was the first stimulus, where none of the money filtered down to us contractors. It all went to the Navajo people like it should have. And still there's a hole in it that some of them did not get it. Let's think of those people first. But in it, I think we shoot ourselves in the foot when we pay people to stay at home. Perhaps we could tweak that project and say, for those who are able to find a job, let's give you a bonus. And give you a bonus for being on the job. It is our primary concern at Arrow Indian Contractors to employ Navajo people as much as possible, to the extent that they come to us and are qualified to do the work. Let me see. What else do I have? The system needs to function right as we find where we can improve. And the funding needs to be speedily pushed through so we could be able to fund these projects. And we need to keep our updated documents and make sure this 164 process moves along. That seems to be the hardest thing to do, as time is money hunting. And as the time lapses between intent to award and the actual contract itself, the prices keep climbing. and we need to be able to address that. Even now, Aero Indian Contractor has a couple of projects that are in the 164 process. And when they do finally sign the contract, we'll have to sit down and say, hey, the fuel prices have jumped more than 15%. Steel prices for culverts have gone up. And we know the drill and all these things that it takes to be able to do business up there. And still, I would like to harp on it again, is the Navajo Nation Business Opportunity Act. It's a fine piece of legislation, but it does us no good to be a law when none of the divisions and the departments abide by it. I sometimes get a job and find out weeks later that somebody's out there other than a Navajo company, and see them working, and it just really frustrates us. And on the other hand, the bonding issue, past experience and past policies at the executive branch where they just shoot down legislation or opportunities to bond these jobs and stuff, help back the Navajo Nation businesses. They shoot it down, causes the surety companies to back off. All of my business constituents can attest to the fact that it is so hard to get a bond, payment, performance, even a bid bond to those to the Navajo Nation because of the scary situation that exists. The slow payment, the slow 164 process, and every contract that expires needs to be redone. It just takes so much time to do business. And I wish that the Prompt Payment Act could be added to our legislation. So as on the outside, if you're 30 days overpaying a bill, there should be consequences as far as interest rates, like all the other federal agencies do. If they're over 30 days, you start taking interest of 5%. And the more you're late, the more you have to pay. Thank you for the time that you've allotted me. I revere and honor your positions. It is not an easy task to be able to lead a nation in these concerns. Speaker, thank you for the time and your initiative to reach out to the businesses that do and give you work. Please don't treat me as a bank or any of these people who are my constituents in the construction world as a bank and have them to sit out there and not get paid and deliver a product. And I wish you could and admonish you to enact a Prompt Payment Act, which says these bills need to be paid within 30 days or start paying interest rate on them. Thank you for your time. And I greet all my constituents in the construction world and all the Natanis out there who have a concern and want this nation to move forward and develop a private sector, real private sector, and economic developments which will benefit all on this nation. If we can white paper all this stuff to the speaker and to the people that are in authority over there at Window Rock through the Navajo Nation or the Net Chamber of Commerce, we would be orderly and organized to have you guys know of our stresses and stuff that we have to address daily. Thank you for the time that you allotted me. I'll turn the time back over to the speaker. Anybody there?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Curley, for being here with us, and thank you very much for your not only your recommendations but also your testimony for the number of years you've been working with the nation. So yeah, that colleagues, let me go back. We did complete working on our presenters. Is there any comments or questions at this time? Madam Chair, Charles Newton.
Hello, speaker?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great, speaker, thank you. Speaker, I'm not sure what is going on, but I was trying to unmute myself and it would not, it wouldn't let me unmute. So I would do *6 and it kept saying you are muted. Then I would do *6 and it would say you are muted. Then I did *6 and it said you are muted. So I just hung up and then had to call back in again. The same issues happened last week, so I have no idea what is going on. But I appreciate you calling on me. Speaker, one is I've been on the call since 11 o'clock and I heard the presentations that were given to us by the various construction companies, and I appreciate everything that has been provided to this council as far as what the hindrances are and how we can try to address those issues. I'm a little bit, I guess, maybe shocked to hear how this process, has been this way. It sounds like it's been this way for years. It hasn't, I guess in a way, it's not like it's been there just for the last year. It's been there for several years. I know that I've heard of contractors and even our own Navajo Nation employees who have, who don't get paid immediately. And that just is really, it's something that we should not be tolerating, and it certainly is an embarrassment to the Navajo Nation that these contractors are not paid out in a timely fashion. I wonder if it's only our Navajo contractors who are having to deal with this issue, or if it's contractors, across the board. And so that was, I guess, maybe my first question. Of course, it's probably not going to be answered because I don't think any Navajo Nation employee is going to go on the record to say, that this is how we are excluded or our Navajo businesses, from getting the payment that they need. I too agree that if the payment if it's not paid within 30 days by the Navajo Nation, that something drastic needs to happen. I don't really understand, aside from these contracts sitting on desks for days, I don't really understand, I guess, I don't really thoroughly understand the process. And somebody once told me, you're not going to understand the process unless you walk through it, unless you're holding the document and you're walking through the process. Then you'll have an idea of what we're talking about with where the hiccups are. And so I know that I've asked that question as well because I've had contractors reach out to me and ask, when they would be getting payment, and I've tried to assist them with the controller's office. But even then, we do have issues with the controller's office as well. So it just, the one thing that kind of comes to mind with the way things are run here on the Navajo Nation is everybody pretty much makes their own decisions on how things get run. And the horrible thing is it should be the directors who should be telling them that, this is the way that it should be. I know that I've seen that in various departments across the Navajo Nation, and I'm thinking specifically right now of P-card, with travel. I've often heard that, that they make their rules up as they go, and I'm starting to see that. I'm starting to see it, and I'm starting to understand, what the issues are. And it seems like there's just a lot of ridiculous, reasons for things being held up. And again, I know that it's not only in P-card, it's happening, in other departments as well. And here we're talking about the, contractors, the 164B process, and how that is, starting to, be a hindrance. I know that when we received our historical, I guess we had a work session not so long ago that Dana held, and I remember, when they did the history of the 164B process and what happened, it seemed like, it seems as if as legislators we try to come up with ways to try to address the issue, but we wind up putting more red tape in there that makes it harder for things to, I guess, in a faster pace. So to the contractors who are currently on the line, I do want to apologize and say that, it is a frustrating process. I wish that I, had full confidence in the process, and I wish that I knew, 100%, where the, I guess, where that issue is occurring, so that, maybe a group of us delegates can try to address it. But the truth is, the communication is lacking. We're getting just as much communication as you all are getting, and we get piecemeal communication. And I'm starting to see how important, the executive branch is in all of this, in all of these, I guess, addressing the issues. And so, again, I just want to apologize, and I know that I did hear Shanella, Honorable Elmer Begay, the Honorable Otto, so, they did talk about, just kind of the kinks and where they see the issues coming from, but how they also support the contractors out there who do want to do business and who do want to get a piece of that ARPA money, and I support that. I think that our Navajo contractors should get a piece of that ARPA money, and I think that a majority of these contracts should be awarded to them so that hire Navajo people and get them out there and get them employed. I say that also knowing that when we moved home, my husband actually applied with many of your companies and was never called back. He was never interviewed. He was never contacted in any way. So I too know that as Navajo construction workers, just some of the issues that do go on with not being hired by these Navajo contractors. So I guess it kind of works both ways. And again, I can speak from experience because my husband is, he's in the construction business, and it's been very difficult for him to find a job, and so he is one that has been out there almost every day since the pandemic hit, trying to fill out applications and get things going, but no phone calls have come in yet. But I still remain hopeful. I also want to state, Speaker, that I also learned that in addition to the contractors not having this opportunity to get to get business, I know that some attorneys are also running into the same situation as well. Some attorneys are bidding for the I guess the request oh gosh, I can't even think of it right now. The request for qualifications, or and I know that I had one specific attorney reach out and was sent an email and was told that we don't abide by the preference law, and that was very interesting. And I will share that came from the Kayenta Township. And I was really surprised that the Kayenta Township, sent an email saying that they don't abide by the Navajo preference laws. They didn't hire this Navajo attorney for that reason. And so I think that, it does go a lot, I guess, further than just our contractors, but I think in terms of this ARPA money and the preparation of it coming down the pipeline, we all as delegates talk about how we do want employment to increase. We want to give our Navajo people the opportunity to get out there and to work. So, and I completely support that. And I do, I wish, and I believe Honorable Elmer McGay asked the question at one time, is there a way that we can include language within each one of the legislations that we pass, giving ARPA money to make it clear that a certain percentage has to be Navajo. And I believe, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe the answer that was given at that time is that's already what the Navajo Preference and Employment Act does. Is it does say that that's what's supposed to be happening, but the problem is it's not happening. And we're hearing that today, and some of us are seeing it firsthand. And so the question now remains, what can we do to loosen up these requirements a little bit and to make the process a little bit easier, and more importantly, to get these contractors paid on time, because if they don't get paid on time, then that means their Navajo employees are not going to get paid on time. So I fully support the contractors who are coming before us at this time asking for assistance and wanting a piece of that ARPA fund. I think there's a lot more Navajo people out there who have businesses who have tried to get on to the Navajo Preference Employment, or I'm sorry, the priority, to become a priority one business. They have tried, but it just seems like there's no, I think that's also another issue as well, is there is no checkbox to say, okay, step one, you fill out an application, step two, you submit documents, and these are the documents that are needed, step three, this is what needs to happen. There's nothing like that in place, and that's why I think, as I stated earlier, it's one person making that decision and deciding, okay, well, I want it this way. Which is really, it's really unfortunate. I've even heard of one department where if you staple your document on your right side of your document, it doesn't get accepted because the staple's supposed to be on the left side of the document. That's how ridiculous some of our departments have gotten in the expectations of submitting documents. So again, I think that, the legislative branch has certainly, passed laws to try to, move the process along. But in the end, it is the executive branch that implements those laws, and they are the ones who write the policies and the procedures. They are the ones who are who are making the process the way that it is. So in some sense, coming before council and talking about how the process is not working, we can fix it, and we probably will fix it, but there's no guarantee that the way that we envision it working is going to be implemented that way by the executive branch. So, and again, I know that the legislative branch has tried to reach out to the executive branch multiple times, to try to address these issues, but it doesn't happen. And if anything, it's usually, when that happens, what I've seen is delegates coming out saying, Bidnat, leave them alone. It's okay. They're doing their best. They're trying. And nothing ever gets done. But I'm glad that you're here. You're talking about the issues that you are currently going through. And like I said, I think that we can drop legislation to try to address the issue, but the implementation is where we're going to be caught up in all of these issues again. So perhaps if we make the legislation so detailed that, maybe it'll make it a little bit easier to help the process, maybe that will, move things along long, but I highly doubt it. So I just wanted to share that, and again, I do support our contractors, and I hope that you understand where we're coming from as legislators and try to fix the law. I believe in the past that has been attempted, but we're currently where we're at now because of the implementation of the law. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair Charles Newton. And I don't have anybody else in the queue at this time, colleagues. Is there any other comments or questions?
Speaker Damon, this is Keith Keatso. One of the things I just wanted to bring up real
Hold on,
quick was,
Keith. Hold on, Keith.
Okay.
Colleagues, going twice. Any other comments or questions? Not. Let me go back to the floor to the presenters. This time, I'll go to Keith first, and if there's, oh, hold on. Honorable James.
Oh, Naabik'íyáti.
Oh.
Thank you. Speaker, thank you. I was just barely unmuted myself. Okay. Do here then he can have softney. Ado kodo bishwas an niglini. He start nasis tani. Ado she kahasi so isen of angi. Yat ehako. Oko kwaiki. Eya he called just store. O asim benah eya kwaiki. Sinale honorable also anisa sabana ogas. Ishin enko. Ado she is tradis nista. She out na 8 out. The quigo sheet I dot e kodo office of the controller. Ada ila ad al e da ila ko. Ado not anin that list. The quigo she adole. Sa hondas ado sato e dalia. Okonde. What ended those a net that many past leaders that tried to make amendments to the policies, the procedures, and the laws, but we're still in the same cycle of it not being completed in a timely manner of payments being made for everyone. So, kodo Banza case do banza not the case of Khalid Adulisa. So, we ask all of our departments, all of our presenters, budget seasons in the Haldish, budget in the Haldisho. Ben Jahada at the Ani Konat Ani Glini. We're short staffed. We don't have enough space done hit that no Ben his nahan. We don't have enough funds for equipment to even if we were to hire more people, that means more funds for equipment, office supplies. Ben his now is gorgeous. The question staff section or siege, and you times that by how many departments there is throughout the Navajo Nation. How many checks and payments that they do each day. I don't know how many documents that comes into their office each day. Short staff, no, so there's no funds. At the Quishina or upon hit that no. Dodo Baba Nate ain't of course, huge at the Hachiki, so huge at Afan such a case. A late Ado Lisa Ado Shanala Kodo, Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. A store legislation on so need to go electronic. I don't need data. quite again then hit up on that actually hard to see legislation yet each section okay that all departments should be submitting documents electronic. Although there's no funding for training, no funding for trainings to be happening, staff development. His staff you have one that says this, and then you have another one that says this, and then you have one that says this, and then we also have that problem to where manipulating the system. We know somebody, a relative that's part of the contractor, the 164 at the department. They might end up getting some special little privileges to make the payment process faster. So in hit that it's who you know. Non hit that nota be hit Johanata at the Helco. Ishin Benage Nito Lishko Dishne. Budget season Jen Hitanati car budget and Hitanahuti Jishiko. Or is it that we're going to assist our departments? A department needs more funding to expedite a lot of these documents, to expedite a lot of these work that needs to happen to make those accomplishments on the Navajo Nation. We fund more in the department. Do they? The next question is, do they have enough space? Do they have office equipment? Joti no da e na nil tlesto do hot an hit so there's not it tlesto hot ashi honne na hata anni shsto ashi honne hit den halchenik abiti na nit au na hade nish ayen so do yitan an anit au ye da e do yita hat snit au de the snit au shi na ha da lesto Ocean are you adole, but that the Nil Jaco shade or what are a once's kiss echo, quite gish cut out the fugitive in the because your after the fugitive. Aya ate in the Aya a budget that stole nesto list. Ashe needs go eat ain't got Ashe needs go. Though her job is that eat late dodo as large Aya in hot and the neighbor that the Kaishi bed on so a is called this. Upon the shin adult a hoshi hit a hoda bayana nil tito ben nahit ago shit adon nito da kohon shade shin that not that is shin slot echo. But ela cautionale she o what aba has dito aden hisinda sosne a here nihina nationally oslido benieta ostra do benia e hashin so not in Lenny be hata Christine ako o hono you o ha huge eya Kenya that adasa abohona ando pohone zanit ni hinanes edasa dobe yat kaya han Lenny baka kin Lenny kitan Johnny naznel ni hik khishin at chita ako kwaiki shibe benache. But here nothing though like had those people that work behind the scene. Or you'd hot a hon hello hinanish or don hisn da soft negiko. Ye got dot and his cut that echo. Honne hinanish with the house do at the all in thought the hot on nisigi, but the ost do not in linigi hot but the house so lean hot she na nation linny behind not need of benefit the lotion it no send ashi ani sato kodo o liesto hishi that nan agi hat egi dan has twin hezan in this abe cheta huist ko on chonat ad hot so the zendo budget jolly that ole hoyin when sakis what outlet do budget jolly that ole jokot ada ya das ko hot a shahan hidini dole do shahan jonon hi nda so net don hi ta so asle ko hot a ba hasti dole a shahan national thank you.
Oh, thank you to Honorable Vince James for those comments and recommendations and testimony as well. So here before us. That, colleagues, let me go back to the floor. Is there any other comments or questions, members from the Naabik'íyáti committee?
Speaker, this is Delegate Charles Niven.
Yes, Madam Chair. Floor is yours again.
Speaker, thank you. I just want to say to the contractors that if you are or if you did put in an RFP for any of the projects that are receiving ARPA funds, let one delegate, but if you could let me know, that way, it would be great to assist you through the process, or if there is, any, it would just be great to be able to say that a contractor, Navajo preference contractor, is going to be receiving ARPA funds. I think that's what we want. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to see. So obviously, again, I am only one delegate, but I am here. I'm sure you guys have my information, my email address, and if you could just email me, I'll be happy to, again, to try to assist you with what I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. With that, colleagues, let me go back to the floor again. Any other members of the Naabik'íyáti committee have a comment or question at this time?
Chair or Speaker, this is Delegate again.
Yes, Honorable Brigade, floor is yours.
Speaker, thank you again. Other Naabik'íyáti, other people that are on the line. So, it's like to say that listening to all the business owners and contractors, I know that it takes a lot of time, and then also a lot of your own thoughts and mind planning, a lot of your own funds to create your own business. But and as the time goes, that we always say is that buy Navajo and buy local, that we use. But when the time comes, we neglect that as leaders. But my thought is, I think that my question goes to where, like right now, that there's all these fundings, external funds that's becoming available to the Navajo Nation. We've seen it through CARES fundings, and then right now we're going through the ARPA fundings. I don't know. I'm waiting for DOJ to get on the line. For example, if they priority 1 and priority 2 of the Business Opportunity Act source lists, if they're being if we start creating another company to start doing some, giving these funds to them to operate. Just like right now, that I understand that there's a new group that is coming in, native builders. They just barely years ago starting to get together and understand that they'll be making, trying to give them jobs to them so they can build homes. We have a lot of home contractors on the reservation, and they're the ones that should be given preference because they're the priority one and priority two a long time ago. The others who just got together barely with under a Belagana named Brian Cole. That's something that I think that we need to really consider that. And given the whole that thing, the idea right now, I could read down through some emails and through understanding that they're going to be having a site where it is being doing some business more like prefab buildings, and they'll be doing it, and they'll be mostly contractors for the nation. So I think we have contractors, just like for myself, and we have Southwest Builders here, and then I have the Naabik'íyáti, and then there's Sacred Mountain Builders on the southwest part of the reservation. I think there should be the one that's be the preference for this part of the reservation. I don't know how it's going to happen, but my question right now is that if priority one and priority two are not, if they go bidding but they were not selected, what kind of grievance or process do they have to go through? Is there a way that we can change the preference law and the Business Opportunity Act, where they can get more priority over other companies? That's my question. How do we go about it? How can we change the law where we tried that during the doing some amendments during the CARES Act fundings, but DOJ did not accept that. I don't know why, because of the grievance or the appealing process. Speaker, I think that's the reason. One of the reasons why I think we need to change a law to where it's more strong for our native or Navajo builders, Navajo contractors, and business. I think there's one thing that I think have DOJ to be part of it. So that's the reason why I'm trying to listen out to where DOJ is on the line. The other speaker, that's still my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Elmer Begay. Yeah, I do believe that we do have Department of Justice on the line. DOJ, are you on the line now?
Good afternoon. Yes, I am. This is Lillian Schwales with DOJ.
Good afternoon, Ms. Schwales. Ms. Schwales, there was a question that was posed earlier. I don't know if you heard that question specifically from Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable Elmer Begay, maybe you want to reiterate the question?
Okay, thank you, Speaker. Out on the DOJ, good afternoon to Delegate Elmer Begay. I have a question. One time we tried to amend a language using the CARES Act, and then we wanted to use it where that the priority for all expenditures and the contracts using the Navajo CARES funds, and we try to state it where shall be given to priority 1 and priority 2 contractors or firm under the Navajo Nation Business Opportunity Act source list, and which is maintained by the Navajo Business Regulatory Department under the Division of Economic Development. And we put in a clause to say that on such cases that if there's no qualified Navajo owned contractor or firm, or no qualifying bids from the Navajo owned contractors, stating that that this shall consider be if there's no qualified Navajo business contractors, shall be given to non-Navajo business people. If this is written in the Navajo Nation Business Opportunity Act and Preference Law, if it is violated, if it's like another qualified, if we have a qualified Navajo people that can do the job, but they were being overlooked and violated it, what will be the process? What kind of agreement shall be put in place to render this process to maybe how can we help them? I know that we put this together at one time in DOJ. Mr. Mel Rodas is the one that didn't accept it. I don't know why. He took it all out and they didn't want it to put it in there. So, do you know why? What's the reason why? If we say that we can help the Navajo people, and we say that the Navajo, the cultural understanding, the concept is that is you have to do it yourself. You have to. It's going to be up to you. That's the concept, and these business contractors are under that term, and they're using that. Now we would know if the law is not been really used right or violated. What's the process? How can we help? And Navajo people can help. So that was my question. Is there a way that we can help them instead of just not even help them? That was my question.
Thank you. That, let me go back to Ms. Swales.
Okay, thank you. So I'm not sure that I can speak directly to Mr. Rodas's determinations under the CARES Act last summer, when whatever happened at that time, where something was added about priority determinations in selection of vendors using CARES Act funds, simply because I am not privy to that information and I wasn't privy to those discussions. What I can say is that when the CARES Act allocations were being done, there were requirements that under the federal law, that it be done according to the then existing procurement rules and regulations of the tribe. And I think that at the time, one of the concerns was any implementation created allocating and appropriating those funds that also changed procurement code or regulatory requirements that seemed to violate NABOA could have been interpreted by the US Treasury as being a violation of the then existing procurement code. That would be my guess. I'm not quite sure. I would leave that to Mr. Rodas to speak to. When it comes to NABOA itself and priority terminations, and then any types of recourse that exist, under the procurement code, there is a process for protests for solicitations and awards that happen. But then under NABOA, there is also an appeal process. So that's what we have currently. And so that's for when there are businesses who are denied priority certification, generally. That's under NABOA. And then when a procurement occurs and there's not a selection done, the protest can be made by someone not selected. That is the currently existing situation. Any decision by the council to change that and implement something different, I would tell you that is the decision by the council. I can't tell you what would be the right or correct way to do anything.
Thank you very much. And maybe what we can do is, Shaji, we can probably refer that question back over to Mr. Rodas, and maybe Mr. Rodas, Ms. Schwales, we could have a off route or after this, sometime set up a call with him, and on by Alma Brigade, we can discuss that some more.
Thank you, Speaker.
All right. That, colleagues, any other comments, questions before I turn it back over to any of the presenters? I know I have a couple of presenters that want to respond or add on, I guess. There's none. The Kitso, I can go back to you, and then any other of the contractors or any other presenters, and then we can go ahead and go from there.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, this is Keith Keatso again. Just real quick, just a comment that I've heard, and this is a little discouraging for I don't know who else have heard it, but it seems like within the Navajo Nation government, one of the stances that I personally have heard is that Navajo contractors, both contractors and design professionals, are not qualified to do the work. And that was the reasoning for going outside the procurement policy. And, you know, everybody that's online now, and even others that are not online, I would think that are highly qualified, and most of us came from bigger non-native companies to start our own companies. And so I think that's one thing, the image that we have to get across to the people of that are putting these proposals out or putting project managers, is that we are qualified to do the work and to do a job because it's within our community and it's within our expertise to do the work that's being asked of us. And that was just a quick comment I wanted to make. And I appreciate everybody's comments. I appreciate everybody's input on this. And I really do hope that there is some headway that's made to this and not put on the wayside to, dissipate over time. And I think that's just a comment. And I don't know if everybody feels the same way I do. That was a comment that I just wanted to make. And again, I want to thank you, Honorable Speaker, to set this up and to hear our concerns and give you some ideas of how we could streamline the 164 process. Again, thank you, everybody, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. With that, Mr. Kitso, Any other comments, questions, or actually responses from the presenters? If there's none, colleagues, at this time, I really suggest, again, I want to thank our VSO, the team members there, both and Kea, Mr. Murphy, Inaba, Mr. Keterso, and Mr. Curley from Aero Indian Contractors. What you have spoken here today, it is viable if you can put it in writing. And that is something that you did receive an email from Chief of Staff, Michelle Nyazi, for the invite here today. We would highly recommend that your recommendations be in writing. And that's the only way we can move forward. I know that I did indicate that this is a beginning process, and this is something that we'll probably have a future discussion on as early as possible as early as next week, due to the fact that there's other contractors and other Navajo businesses that have been dealing with the Navajo Nation that are looking for other changes to as well internally and through working through the Navajo Nation's process that has hindered us for quite some time. And the way that Honorable Nathaniel Brown broke it down is that if you give us this information, we can break that down too as well to say, okay, these are the recommendations that need to be built up. These are the recommendations that we need to probably waive. These are the recommendations that we need to work on to make numerous changes. And some of these aren't going to be overnight changes. These are going to be working together internally with a lot of different organizational management changes internally with procedural processes and making sure that each one of these divisions or the division directors that oversee these different departments and oversee these different matters are relatively aware of what need to be changed. We're also making sure that in order for us to even utilize some of these funds that we get from this ARPA funding, which is the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, that we need to accept the funding first and accept the funding and build the parameters in there. We build the parameters or what's highly alluded as that I keep using, and maybe this is something that I was been trained to say through the over the years, is we need to build that fund management plan that gives the parameters of what we need to do, not only what the Treasury guidelines are, but what the Navajo Nation's guidelines are too. And if there's changes in there that we need to make immediately, that's something that's going to be done here, presented before the council as early as this summer session. And that's just 3 weeks away. And those are items that need to be maintained, that action, and also maintain that responsible delegated authority if the need be, or maintain any kind of waivers or build any kind of waivers. But most importantly, how can we streamline the process even better? So it's critical that you send that information. And again, Ms. Yazi here at the Speaker's office is the one that's actually working on this herself. And she's working on this to get this completed. And as her experience in construction management too has helped her build the program here and helped move the process along on the legislative branch side. So without further ado, if there's no other comments or questions, that's just my last immediate request to the contract or to the businesses that are actually here today and presenting.
So, Chair Speaker,
Yes.
I've been tapping my phone here and there, so not all of it. But I've been listening to you guys. It all for this, David. Yeah, I'm still driving. So.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear
Honorable
me?
Eugene. So yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. You too.
Okay, great. Well, again, thank you, everyone. If there's no other further comments, colleagues, or from the presenters, it's critical that we get that input from y'all, because that's the only way we're going to make these changes. And I thank you very much for each one of your testimonies today and your recommendations, but most importantly, the collaboration that we're going to have to build over the next couple of years to make sure that we can go ahead and build out this better tomorrow for the Navajo Nation with this once in a lifetime opportunity. So again, if there's no other further comment, I thank you everyone for being a part of this discussion, and to announce we will be having a follow-up on this as soon as we get that information from everyone. We will make sure that that notice doesn't go out no later than this Friday. So again, thank you very much, everyone, for being on the line, and we appreciate that. And thank you, colleagues, for your comments too as well and leading this discussion. Everyone have a good day. We're going to